All right, guys, we're into it. We're into it, and we're gonna be reacting to some reviews. This stream is basically we're gonna go through IMDb. We're gonna go through a little website, and we're gonna check out these ratings because it has a 6.1 out of 10, which is why I'm gonna have the poll up for the majority of the live stream. Because if that is correct, this episode is the worst rated episode of the entire show. It is worse than majority of season 6, 7, and 8. Right now, as of the last time I looked at it when I got it set up for the stream, it has a 6.1 rating. That is horrible. There are very few episodes in Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon that has been rated that low. I'm going to have it up the entire stream because I think it's a little sus the way it's going, and I think we're going to have to look at, what the people are saying, see if they've got some valid criticisms or they're just hating to hate. So I'm going to find that out in this stream. Hi, Matthew. How are you? How are you, Ghost? How are you, Chrissy? And by the way, yeah, Ghost, was it who requested the green dress or some green music for this stream? I don't remember, but I just remembered like somebody wanted green music, so I supplied. Last stream was black music, so yeah, we went to Team Green this time. And by the way, I will say the Green Dress soundtrack is my favorite track of House of the Dragon. I think it's beautiful. It's by far my favorite. Part of it is because I think it's with one of my favorite scenes of the entire show. It still holds up even to season 2. I think one of my favorite scenes is when Alicent comes out in the green dress, and it's kind of like her turning moment. It's just a very powerful moment for the character, and also the soundtrack just beautifully complements it. Aegon's coronation theme. I haven't heard that theme in a while. I do remember it being good, though. Maybe we'll play that next stream. I can get people being a bit bored or annoyed with the pace, but wigging out over two chicks making out is a bit silly. Dudes were making out in the first season. Yeah, I do find that quite weird. That all of a sudden, like, this is the thing that people think is so disgusting that they don't want to watch the show or it's terrible. It's like we saw Daemon, like, having sex with his mother. Like, literally the last episode. That's way far worse. We have incest in the show at multiple points, Game of Thrones or this show. This is by far, out of all the controversies in terms of, like, stuff like that, this is by far one of, like, the least, so I don't really understand that at all. Hi, Random Stuff. How are you? I really wish this poll on Streamlabs would not cover the... I'll have to just look at it on YouTube Studio, I guess. Which is, I think, what most people do, but I don't know. It felt out of nowhere. Yeah, I think a lot of people have that criticism. I think they could have built it up a bit more. I felt like it was fine. I kind of felt like especially on rewatching the episode, I could definitely see what they were trying to do, and so I think it worked for me. But I definitely see the criticism there, and won't like say, "Oh yeah, no, that's just wrong." I think it's a valid criticism of it. Even your mom said it was... See, I think it's weird because people are trying to compare House of the Dragon to Game of Thrones in terms of like, oh, a lot of big action things maybe didn't happen in Game of Thrones, but you still like Game of Thrones, but House of the Dragon, you maybe don't feel that way. So we're kind of going to address that because I think that's going to be a lot of people's criticisms of the show so far. And I'm going to try to maybe say why I don't feel that way, but... Yeah, I don't think 6 out of 10. I think that is just insane. And we're going to go through a lot of, because I pre-read some of these reviews just to kind of get a feel for what people think about this episode on the website. But we're going to go through it. It's interesting to say the least. Yeah, I think for me as well, Matthew, I'm about at where I was for season 1. I think season 1 and season 2 are about the same quality. I'd probably just give it an 8 out of 10 as well. Yeah, I agree, Ryder. Like, episode 6 was my second favorite episode. So I think it's really weird that people are having such a dislike for, I think, one of the best episodes of the show. So, I don't know. Like, for Ricky, this is a top 3 episode for him in terms of season 1 and 2. So, it's definitely weird. Hi, Dakota, how are you? Well, I know work wasn't great today, but, hopefully you're chilling out a little bit. I'm laughing at how episode 6 is considered the worst when episode 5... Yeah, episode 5 was much worse than episode 6. Like, I don't think episode 5 was, like, a terrible episode. It was definitely, like, a filler and setup episode. And I think that kind of rubbed off on episode 6 because episode 6 is just a better version of episode 5. Like, that's what it is, right? And so, I don't know. I think episode 3 is still the worst episode, and it's by far the worst episode. But I don't know. I think it's a lot of the scenes feel like filler to some people. Yeah, and I think, like, I get it why people view it that way, but I just have a different take on certain things. I think the Rhaenyra camp is the camp that I would say the most is like the slower, more fillery stuff. Like the Green Council, like every time we're in King's Landing, the plot like forwards quite a bit each episode. Daemon's plot is weird because it doesn't forward the plot a lot. It does in certain terms, like you have like the Riverlands politics going on, like the Blackwood Bracken conflict and how that evolves. You're not really seeing it through Daemon's eyes. It's Daemon hearing about it usually. And so, you don't have a ton of plot development because Daemon's is completely a character development season. So when you look at season one, Daemon was a character that was a main character of season 1. And I had him when I did my tier list. He was a B. He was in B because I didn't really like the way they depicted the character. He wasn't like interesting. He was just a straight up villain. There was nothing really redeeming about him outside of his relationship with Viserys, and that's what saved him for me from being like a C or a D. And so I think this season was about kind of going through what makes the character the way he is. So we'll see. Also, hi Brett. Also on Wizard 101, Brett, I was getting absolutely smoked. Absolutely smoked. I was trying to like grind some gear. I'm gonna need your help for that stuff. That's all I'm gonna say. I agree, though, guys. I think episode 6 was better than episode 5 by a lot. Do you think it's the kiss scene that made people really dislike it? I think there's... I don't want to get into politics, but I do think part of it is I think there is an agenda being done because of some of that. I think, there might be some of that going on. I think it's just people, maybe this was the episode where maybe they were expecting the plot to really develop. And I just think it's weird. Because episode 4 was a big battle episode. It was like in terms of on-screen time, the battle that we see at Rook's Rest is not, I don't think it's as grand as the Battle of Blackwater, but it's like similar in terms of the episode is almost completely around the Battle of Rook's Rest. And so when you get one of those episodes, you can't just come back 2 episodes later and have another huge episode like a battle sequence. You just don't, I don't know. I think it's really weird to me. But yeah, I agree. Even as somebody that's on the Team Black side, I think the green side's more interesting. Agreed, Steffi. I think Team Black is what makes people feel like it's much more filler. Hi, PK. How are you? I think it was pretty good for episode 7, PK. I think so far it feels like we're going to be in a good spot for episode 7. Problem is they only have 8 episodes, and with that in mind, the episode felt too slow for so few episodes this season. I think it's interesting because I do agree. I think people think it's going to progress much quicker than it was. But yeah, I don't know. Also, Violet Wizard 101 was part of my childhood, but I've been getting back into it a little bit. Not very good at it, I will say though. Random stuff. Well, get a nice sleep in. See, episode 5 to me, I don't think it was bad. I think like episode 5, I think it was a fine, good episode. I think it had flaws to it, and I think depending on how you buy into things, you'll like it more or less. And so I don't think episode 5 is bad. Also, hi Maylees, how are you? We have another Targaryen family member. That's pretty good. But fair enough, Maylees. You think we should have seen Rhaena try to claim the wild dragon? I think that would have been cool. Yes, Brett does carry me. He does. It took long to build to this war, and people want to see a lot of payoff. That's just not where we are, though. And, okay, so let me do a comparison. In Season 2, we see on screen 1 battle. We see 1 battle in Game of Thrones. We see the Battle of the Blackwater. I think it's weird that we are kind of comparing it to Game of Thrones when that show had 10 episodes, and in the middle of the conflict of the War of the Five Kings, we only saw one battle. Like, we saw the prelude to, like, Rob's battle in the West. That doesn't count, though. We didn't see the battle. And so we saw the massive battle in episode 4. Like, when you have an 8-episode season, you're not going to have battle after battle after battle. I just think that's kind of weird to me to think, or to say. But I do think Rhaenyra needs to definitely get more development. I think that's a legit criticism. All right, so let's actually go to the page and let's look at some of the reviews. And kind of we'll dissect them, I guess. Oh, chat is on. What is going on with the chat here? Let's fix the chat. What is going on here? Oh, that's not one. Okay, well, chat's just gonna get hid. I don't know what's going on. Okay. So, let's look at these reviews. Let's see what we got here. So, I'm not going to read really like the positive ones because we're kind of focused on why the review is so low, or the rating. So, this person says 5 out of 10. I'm kind of tired of this dragging. First of all, I would like to say that I actually like a slower pace in storytelling, whether in movies, TV shows, or books. I also don't mind the absence of action scenes. God's first seasons didn't rely on action, instead moved the plot through dialogue. I could watch whole episodes of characters just talking and scheming, and it was so engaging. This season, especially the last 2 episodes, are not even close to that level of engagement. So tired of the characters I was interested in last season. Rhaenyra doesn't do anything, and Daemon just trips through the last several episodes while being tortured with his past behavior. I don't understand why they couldn't dispense that into 1 or 1.5, but okay, whatever. Every episode has so little development in terms of character growth or the kingdom's move towards peace or war escalation. It's just so tedious and tiresome. So, okay, this person seems to not be buying into, like, for instance, the character development or the plot. And what I would say about that is you are entitled to feel that way, but if you want to look at it in terms of, okay, episode 1, an assassination attempt happens on the royal family in charge, and an innocent child is killed. Next episode, another assassination attempt occurs trying to kill Rhaenyra, resulting in the Cargylls to both die. That deeply affects a lot of the Green Camp specifically. We see Aegon's rise and fall, more or less. Aemond goes from being a character who's still holding on to his humanity, in this first half of the season, and then lets it go in episode 4. Because of kind of Rhaenyra's inaction, it leads Rhaenys to having to go to Rook's Rest and all this stuff. And Daemon, you look at the character of Daemon. Let's look at where he started. He was somebody that was arrogant. He ran away from all his problems. He's being presented with what his issues are. He's being presented with trying to become a better person. I've been watching The Sopranos a lot. It's a lot like the therapy scenes, where it's a lot of trying to digest and look at who Tony Soprano is as a character. It is exactly the same thing with Daemon. And you can't have it be 1 to 2 episodes of just all these Daemon visions. I think you could have maybe done it if you edited down, like, the Alyssa stuff. I think some of the episode 5 visions weren't as necessary. Or if they were going to do it, they should have done it in a different way. But I think it's kind of wild to say characters haven't really moved much. Like, the main character, Rhaenyra, her as a character, yeah, she hasn't moved that much. The majority of the characters have had a shift in their actual characters, whether that's good or bad. And the plot, I mean, we had a battle in episode 4. Outside of the other stuff, the assassination attempts, I don't like the Rhaenyra Alicent thing. I don't think that's good. But in terms of it forwarding the plot, those two have a conversation about why Aegon was named king, all these things, and it changes. It was supposed to change the characters, but it didn't really for me. But yeah. And then episode 5 and 6 is kind of like, you're kind of retooling to go to the Dragon Seed plot and kind of finish out the season. So you had your kind of climactic episode in the middle of the season. And so I don't know if people understand that. Like, episode 4 is supposed to be the big battle scene, and then you're going to have probably another, maybe not as big as episode 4, but you're going to have probably another battle at episode 8. So, like, you had a battle every 4 episodes. Like, that's kind of crazy to me. I don't know. Let's move on, though. We have another person saying it's very slow. Literally nothing happens, bits and pieces. Someone said in the review it's just a filler episode. I was so glad I was late to the party. I could binge watch House of Dragon Season 1, and it was fantastic, 9 out of 10. But honestly, if I had to wait a year for this, I understand people's frustrations. But now to wait every week for an hour episode stretched out without a major event, without suspense. Okay, so this person seems to, in my opinion, the fact that they gave House of the Dragon season 1 a 9 out of 10 is kind of wild to me. I think House of the Dragon season 1 has a lot of issues. So I think House of the Dragon is weird because I think it has the opposite effect of season 2, where I think House of the Dragon season 1 moves very quickly. But I think it's weird because I think this person, if they had watched House of the Dragon season 1 as another viewer, where it was like you're watching it each week, I think they'd have the exact same opinion. Like episode 1, 2, like the early episodes of the show don't have a lot in terms of like development or action or heightened pacing. Like I think this person seems like they don't like to wait for build up. It's kind of what I would say from this. But I don't know. Marvel fans beware. Okay. I can't believe we've been waiting 2 years for this crap. Where we go for this one? I don't know whether it's a problem with the writing or a problem with the directing, but what I am sure of is that we are seeing now a very, very big disappointment. We wait 2 years of suspense to give me 8 episodes. Well, I mean, we haven't seen all 8 episodes, so far, when this was written, you've seen 6. Extreme badness and weakness is a story this weekend poor. For this person, this is opinions because they don't back it up with anything. They don't say why they didn't like it. Even the dragon battle in the 4th episode was not epic and does not compensate or cover the extent of the weakness and poverty in the series. This seems like you have more of a problem with season 1 than you do season 2, but I don't know. George R. R. Martin did not do the show. I don't know why his name is even here. This person just said some things, but didn't actually. This person wrote a decent amount, but didn't really say much. Really, all this says is they're disappointed and it was bad. Another person, 2 out of 10. Okay, 2 out of 10. Waiting for 2 years for this season, and now you give us this season. 8 episodes with 5. Okay, once again, we haven't watched all 8 episodes, so this is 6 episodes. With 5 filler. Okay, 5 filler episodes. Okay, so let's go through this. So, episode 1, Blood and Cheese. Episode 2, you have the Cargill twins and their attack. Episode 3, maybe you could say it's more of a filler episode. I think that's fair. I think maybe filler build-up episode. Episode 4 is a big battle. So 3 of the first 4, you cannot consider filler. 5 and 6, maybe you can say those are. I'd say out of all the episodes, those are the 2 that are most build-up setup. Well, mainly episode 5. So if anything, you're saying maybe 3 of the 6 episodes we've seen so far have been like more of build-up filler episodes. I don't know how we got to 5, but okay. Rhaenyra is a woman and her team wants more from her. Actually, they want almost the opposite of this. They don't want Rhaenyra to be doing anything, so that's just a wrong interpretation. Alicent is a woman and no one is listening to her rather than Cole and you. I don't know what you mean because it's a typo. And also, Alicent actually has a decent amount of influence until like Aegon stops listening to her. Harrenhal on and on, the same every single episode with no moving on. Do not compare this to the first seasons of Game of Thrones. Time to compare it. In Game of Thrones, we had great characters with great conversations each episode. If the story cannot give you 5 seasons, 10 years, then I don't know what they're even talking about here. So more or less, I can't comprehend how they view the show based upon like this part of it just not making sense. But I will say, the idea that Harrenhal is the same every episode, I mean, fair enough, but it's part of the growth of Daemon. If you don't subscribe to that, then you're just not going to like it. I mean, that's just how it is. I don't know what I can tell you. But if you're basing why the season's bad off of one plot line, because the other stuff you just rambled on about here doesn't make any sense. With Rhaenyra's endless laments about her inaction, Daemon's frustrating and Harrenhal sequences endless states of a downtrodden Alicent, the story has grown. So, I wonder why Alicent is kind of depressed. I mean, her grandchild dies in the first episode. She's having a war that's likely going to start with someone she still cares about in Rhaenyra. Could mean the deaths of her children, the death of all of her family. She's losing power and control. She also is questioning herself as a mother. She also has guilt for starting the war over something that probably like was not supposed to happen, like her hearing Aegon from Viserys. I wonder why she feels like that. The story has grown stagnant. I can say you have a point on the black camp. I don't know how you'd say about the green camp. In the span of 5 episodes, we've gone from Aegon being king to Aemond being king. Alicent's not on the small council. Otto's not hand of the king. There's been 2 different assassination attempts, a battle in which Rhaenys has died and her dragon has died, the first time that's happened in a very long time. So, okay. Dance of the Dragons is a story of epic tragedy. Yes. Let us see it and feel with these characters. Show us the maneuvering rather than always verbalizing it in the same setting. What does this even mean? Rather than verbalizing it, so you don't want it to be in like King's Landing and Dragonstone, but that's where the main players are. And also, like, we've seen maneuvering pretty much in every episode. That's been a main factor of the season. Like, okay. Show us the familiar bonds between these characters so they feel like an actual family. The first episode, that literally gets disproved in the first episode. I don't even know what we're talking about here. We see a whole funeral for Luke, in which we literally see Jace breaking down, and with Rhaenyra, one of the best scenes of the season. Okay, let the characters make choices and not. Okay, this is legitimate criticism. This was a big part of season 1 that I think I had a problem with. I don't know as much about it in season 2, but that's legitimate criticism of the show overall. Let the Velaryons have dimensions rather than existing as mere tools to say, yes, this is a fair criticism as well. The Velaryons have definitely been underused. So that's good. I like that. It's legit criticism. Out of all the ones so far that we've looked at, like the second half of this, like I don't have a problem with this, right? I want more of the characters to be more emotional. I want them to actually, like, especially from Rhaenyra. I think this is more pertaining to Rhaenyra than it is any other character. I think Rhaenyra is the biggest proponent of. She's been very stagnant in her growth as a character compared to most of the others. I remember that after 16 episodes of Game of Thrones, there were many interesting characters, some of whom we began attached to, some of whom we hated, some of them just astonished us, and some of them who conversation. Okay, so this is about Game of Thrones. Fair. If you want a strong female character on the good side or the bad side, you have Cersei, Daenerys, and Catelyn without the need to remind us each episode. Woman, strong and understands more. This does not make sense. Rhaenyra herself says that she doesn't know, like, how to do war, right? She wants to be a man because she doesn't feel like she can do all these things, right? She feels held back because she is a woman. The whole part of the dance is the stupidity that women can't rule. So if you don't like that theme, you're not going to like the dance. So I don't know why you'd be watching season 1 if you didn't buy into this. So that's just a fundamental issue with, like, the actual time period. If you want intelligence and cunning, watch how the dialogues. Okay, Aegon and Larys in the last episode. This guy just seems to be completely comparing it to Game of Thrones, and I don't think that's fair. In destroying characters, I'd say House of the Dragon has actually done a pretty good job of building up a lot of characters. Now I think they've done some bad things with, like, the Velaryons and Rhaenyra specifically. But I just don't most of that. For me, the season ended up being one of the worst I've seen in general, inside and outside the world of Ice and Fire. So if you're talking about the Ice and Fire, that only means Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. So of course it's going to be worse. That's just kind of. And yeah, this person just seems to be, like, on a trip of House of the Dragon needs to be exactly like Game of Thrones. All right, let's get back to chat. I kind of went on there for a rant for a while. Some of these people seem a little like they're lost. They don't know what show they're watching. Let me try to go through this. Oh my god, I'm so far behind. It took long to build this war, and people want to see. Yeah, I read that already. Okay, yeah, but yeah, you're not wrong. The memes have been very funny. Oh yeah, we'd love to see memes. I got upgraded to best friend status. Yeah, you can be best friend status. Hi, Tin. How are you? How's Germany? Let me know. Let me know. House of Dragging is crazy. Yeah. Yeah, we are pretty close friends, Dakota. We were in the same wedding together, so that's pretty cool. I think if it goes down to structural problem with the show, they didn't / couldn't give the proper build up to the war, so now that it's actually building up, it feels slow. Yeah, I can see that. My problem is just like saying that it's slow right after we got a big episode in terms of the war. Right? Like the Battle of the Rook's Rest happened literally like 2 episodes ago. So, I don't know. I think many people, especially casuals, are comparing House of the Dragon Season 2 to peak Game of Thrones. Remembering that, yeah, see, that's wrong, Philip. That is not the approach you just have. House of the Dragon is a different show than Game of Thrones. And if you're going to compare this season, you have to compare it to Season 2. Because that's the most comparable of it. It's the beginning of the war. So, I don't know. I agree with that comment in the last 2 episodes. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of character work or development. I mean, that's your opinion. I just don't agree with it. I think Daemon has developed a ton. I'm going to skip ads for you guys. Hold on. I think it's good that I'm actually doing this on YouTube Studio because I can actually see when ads pop up. I think when you take a look at it, though, I think they're going for a slow payoff. And so they're slowly trying to build that Rhaenyra is, going off the rails a bit more, lashing out. Jace developed quite a lot in episode 5 in terms of taking on responsibility, coming up with the plan of the dragon seeds. We see Daemon as he's questioning, what rulership is and his relationship with his brother and how he should be there for his family, but he's not. So maybe he'll, do that in the future. Maybe that's what pulls him back to Rhaenyra, that, that is his wife, that's his family, it's who his brother wanted to become queen, and putting his own ego aside in those things. That's kind of what the whole last 2 episodes have been about, is Daemon's ego and those things that blind him from his family. So I think a lot of that's been great. I think Alicent's development as a character, she's questioning, her actions, her children, how she's become, like a parent to them, and even the last episode with Daeron, seeing Aegon, who's now this broken character who went from having probably one of the better arcs of the show as a character, and then now he's broken, right? His body's completely destroyed. He's under threats of dying to Aemond. Aemond has slowly risen to power as he's become very, cruel and kind of getting right to the point. So I don't know. I think for me, I think we've seen a lot of development over the last couple episodes. Even the development for characters like Hugh and how the small folk are kind of turning into turning into a big point of the show. My only complaint of Daemon scenes are the mom scene. Yeah, I think episode 5 had the worst in terms of visions, but I still think they served a point. Episode 3 and 5 are far worse than 6. I agree, Yannick. I agree. Hopefully I'm saying that right, by the way. Also, they made Rhaenyra the main character, but now they're branching out to everyone, so they feel like they're left hanging with Rhaenyra. Yeah, Violet, that's the thing, though, right? I think they had 2 routes that they could have gone. They could have gone the route of making Rhaenyra and Alicent more of your secondary characters and giving all these other characters more time to develop, and they didn't go that way. I think, they wanted to keep their main characters the main characters, right? That's why you see Rhaenyra and Alicent as the poster board, child for this whole show, right? All the images you see is Rhaenyra on one side and Alicent on the other. And so, really, but when you take a step back and you look at Fire and Blood, once the war happens, they're not really the main players. The main players, especially early on in the war, are Corlys, Rhaenys, Jace, Daemon, Aegon, Aemond. So, in a way, they kind of just, it doesn't align with the source material, so they're having to kind of invent something. But I agree, though. I think the mom scene, right, in episode 5, I understand what they were trying to do with it, but the execution wasn't very good. So I do see what you're talking about, PK, in terms of the episodes after the big ones are usually really good. That's why I think episode 2 is really good, PK. I don't know if you agree or disagree on this. Episode 2 comes after, in my opinion, one of the biggest moments of the show, right? The biggest moment of the show, Blood and Cheese. That should have been, theoretically, it's one of the top 3 moments that you look forward to if you're a book reader going in to see how they're going to do it. And so episode 2 was great. I think episode 2 felt almost exactly like a season 3, episode 10 type episode. I thought it was really well done. If we're gonna have sex scenes, we need dragon sex scenes. Oh boy, that'd be kind of interesting. Brett. Ending episodes on Cole and Allison was getting. I do agree that was kind of not great. I think the difference in reception between season 1 and season 2 is expectation. Many assumed season 1 would suck and then loved it because it was decent. Season 2 came out after 2 years. Yeah, Philip, I think that's another point. That's why I think Winds of Winter is such a daunting task for George, because I think many people have such an expectation from it, reading fanfics or building up what they think is going to happen in their head, that they could be easily let down if Winds of Winter is maybe the quality of like Dance, for instance, which I think is probably one of the lower books of the series. But to me, I think season 2 has pretty much been on par with season 1 in terms of quality. So I find it very interesting that, like, I think you bring up a great point. I thought season 2 was going to take that next step. I thought if season 1 is like a 8 out of 10, I thought season 2 was going to get closer to like an 8.5 to 9 out of 10. I thought we were going to take a step up. That's where the disappointment has had. And so far, I've kind of thought about this, right? Because where we're at so far in the show, when we get to the end of it, right, depending on how episodes 7 and 8 go, like, for me, season 2 has been disappointing because it just haven't, it hasn't really surpassed season 1 in really that meaningful of a way. I loved episode 2 and 4. Yes, those are 2 really good episodes. Definitely top 3 episodes so far. Oh god, we're talking about feet pics again. I have no problem developing Damon. I just don't think the Harrenhal stuff is done in a way that's interesting for me. I would have preferred Otto and Daron scenes. Fair. I think that's another missed opportunity, right? I think seeing the Reach, seeing Daron and Otto in the Reach would have really been. I think it would have helped the pacing of the show for especially more of a casual audience. I think, coming in, watching, them preparing for war, and as they're doing that, their kind of journey through the South. Very, very similar to like Rob's journey in the West. You don't have to show us the battles, but just kind of show us, them, after the battles or whatnot. That would be really cool to see, but they just didn't decide to do it. I guess maybe because they didn't build it up too well in season 1. Like Daron is not built up. I don't know. Yeah, I think for me, so far, House of the Dragon has not really been. They've stuck to more of a serious tone. There is humor here and there, but it's not really been kind of about that. But I agree, PK on episode 4. Hi, Maz. How are you? Cutting out things like character building with Jason and Kragan, for example, in exchange for Allison and Cole bumping Uglies is crap storytelling, in my opinion, and it's frustrating. Yeah, I get what you're talking about, Luna, right? I get why. Like, I think, for me, I was in the same area, right? I thought we were going to see a Maz plot, or not a Maz. I thought we were going to see a Jace plot line for at least like 3 or 4 episodes, and they didn't go that route because I think they wanted some other stuff to happen. But I definitely see what you're talking about. And I think, one of my big predictions was we were going to expand the story out a bit. And so that was my expectation. I thought we were going to have more places, and that hasn't been the case in season 2. They've kept it to really 3 locations, but yeah. You get the meme I sent? Dakota. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did send that. He saw it. I don't know. Characters like Tyrion is what made. Thank you for whoever.
The Lannisters send their regards.
Thank you, Brat. Appreciate you. You do be the GOAT. What was your message? What did you message? I can subscribe if you want to see Eric and I recreate the. Oh, God. That's not happening. Brett, that's not happening. That's not happening. That's all I gotta say. The Twitter accounts that constantly shill it are so annoying. So, I'm curious, Joey, like, what do you mean by shilling? That's what I'd be interested in. Like, people that are just, like, saying it's perfect? Like, I haven't seen a lot of that, so I'm just kind of interested. Yeah, Ghost, you're right. We don't really have a character like that. I would say the closest thing we had to that was Aegon. I think Aegon is a very funny character, especially in the first episodes. Hi Zeno, how are you? I think Aegon was handled the best in season 1, but I think Jace has been good as well. I did see that. That is insane to me. Ewan Mitchell has been fantastic as Aemond. Anybody saying he's a bad actor, go back to Last Kingdom. Great. He is great. He's a great actor. He was great in his performance last episode. I don't care what anybody says. He was great. Hi Radical, how are you? This episode's getting a lot of hate. Yes. We're gonna continue going through more of it here in a second, but yeah, okay. I don't know why I said Dr. Brett. Season 2 is about 10 times better than Rings of Power. Or any Star Wars show besides like maybe Mando or Andor. It's like way better. I better be invited, Dakota. That's all I'm saying. If you and Ashley get married, I would like to be invited. I think things are moving in season 2, but it feels repetitive. Gwen and Allison had that familiar feeling that could be explored. I think the familial feelings between other characters is missing overall. Okay, fair enough. Is this mad grease time or I haven't seen anything like too terrible yet. I'm just kind of like giving some like petty roast right now, but we'll see. I saw one yesterday that actually pissed me off, so we'll see if I actually find it in here. If comparing we are in House of the Dragon Season 2, 75% done to the equivalent point in Game of Thrones Season 2, we have more battles in House of the Dragon. Yeah, I agree. I don't really care, Matthew, in terms of how he looks. I'd just hope he doesn't look like Kristen Cole. I would not be mad, Radical. Oh my god, Aegon the Fourth is here. My boy is here. Every time like somebody like talks to you or like says something, I swear they summon you. Or you're lurking and then you appear. Season 2 has been up and down. I'm hoping for a strong ending though. Yeah, I agree, Maz. Consistency has not been a strong suit so far this season. I love the riot scene with Alice and Talena when they get cornered. I was so disturbed as what. Yeah, I agree. Please forgive me for comparing. God, I see what they're doing with Rhaenyra, but she feels whiny. In Game of Thrones, or Theon also struggled feeling like he was playing a role, but I felt more for him. Yeah, fair. I think they're going kind of the opposite way, though. I think Rhaenyra is like trending downwards, whereas Theon was like trending upwards in terms of actual person and his actual development. I agree, Maz. That could be really cool. Joey, I personally, outside of like maybe some of the season 5, or not season 5, the episode 5 stuff, I really like the dreams. I think the Daemon plotline has been the best plotline so far of the show in terms of this season overall, but yeah. By the way, I'm so far behind in chat. I'm kind of realizing that just because I just got to the super chat, but after 2 years expectations, yeah, like El Chico, if you even go back, I made a YouTube short, it was like probably a year ago, I think, just talking about, because I thought season 2 was going to be fantastic, just the way it, we were going to come into it, but yeah, hasn't lived up to it, I will say. It's been good, it just hasn't lived up to what I thought it could have been. Oh god, I'm getting to you guys like responding that you super chat. I agree, Philip. I'm surprised we didn't get more of Winterfell, given how much people like it, like the Stark plot. There's a reason, like my background, I made sure like I had the banners that most people like: Targaryen, Stark, and Lannister. But yeah, Joey, I try to be very like considerate of people that don't like certain things. Because me myself, I don't think any episode this season has been perfect. Like every episode has had something that you can critique and you could do better, but. I hated this episode. Of all the things to pull from Feast, they took Mirror Swamp. What a joke. Well, I'd love to hear, like, outside of that, Joseph, like, what do you not like about the episode? Robbie, fair enough. Oh, God, Aegon. Oh, God. You'll be there for the divorce. There better not be a divorce. If you guys get divorced, I'd be pissed. Do you think 2 years between seasons is too much if we're only getting 8 episodes? No, I don't think so. Like, I think to me, if you need even 3 years, right, to make a season as good as it can possibly be, I'm fine with that, right? I'd rather have quality over just getting stuff that's rushed. That's what Game of Thrones ended up being. Aegon, what are your thoughts on Melees? I'm just curious. Maelor the Missing. Oh, God. Do you think Laenor died off screen so there's no lore inconsistency with having more than one alive rider for a dragon? Ditto. Here's all I'll say. I have a video coming out Saturday. That answers kind of almost that exact question. But I do think that Laenor died off screen. Just based off of kind of a scene that they had earlier where Rhaenyra was talking about Sea Smoke being restless and stuff. I think he died off screen, which is, in my opinion, is super disappointing and it makes it even more dumb. Like, I was giving the show the benefit of the doubt to finish that plot line with Laenor, but I think they wasted a lot of opportunity. Didn't we get a episode every year so if you're talking about the seasons, we got like a season every year until season 6 or 7, I think. But yeah. So let's continue on. Let's look at some more reviews. All right. Why make the Rogue Prince so stupid? Yes, I understand character development, but seriously, 6 episodes of Daemon hallucinations and 6 episodes of Rhaenyra not doing any action whatsoever. Suddenly Daemon is stupid and can't even get a few lords to his side and needs some advice. I mean, here's the thing. If we're going off of Daemon, book Daemon, right? Book Daemon, I think you have a point. Like, why is he struggling so hard to get men to his side? He's always been actually good at that in the book. In the show, it's never been really shown like that Daemon is actually good at getting men to his side and settling family matters or trying to rule and things like that. So I don't necessarily think it's Daemon being stupid. I think it's him being inexperienced in terms of how to bring the Brackens and Blackwoods together. Why is it the writer's goal to make Daemon look bad and Rhaenyra look good? That, to me, is a criticism of Season 1. That's not a criticism of Season 2. That was completely built up in Season 1. Rhaenyra was the hero, and Daemon was a villain. Also, so far, okay, the second part here, like, she is a woman, and the surrounding men don't respect her, but she prevails. Rhaenyra, what part of this season has Rhaenyra, like, succeeded? Like, genuinely, how has she succeeded this season? She has no army. She's barely struggling to stay alive in terms of she has no dragons left. She's been incompetent in terms of rulership. She's let many different castles get sacked, more or less. Well, not sacked, but taken over by Cole's forces. Her husband has basically left her. She has no, like, that just doesn't make sense. I think this is a legitimate criticism. This right here is a legitimate criticism. Rhaenyra is so far too much of a good guy, and there's not much nuance to the character. I agree with that. House of the Dragon continues and slip into mediocrity with another poor episode. There are a lot of apologists defending the slow pace and painting people have a problem with it as juvenile. See, I don't try to do this, but like if you think it is a very slow pace and you're going to make claims like that, I think you should back them up. So let's see what we do here. I have no problems with slow pace. True Detective Season 1 is my favorite series, but the scenes still have to be filled with great character development or analysis and good writing. Silent Hill and Hallucination, scenes entirely of new characters, names you don't know. Same endless BS conversations in the same rooms again and again. This is just low-quality filler, not high-quality slow burn drama. It reeks of poor writing, frankly, that they couldn't find a way to develop Daemon outside of these visions or to set up the small folk riots with awkward scenes. Okay, or without awkward scenes. So, the Daemon thing. Let's talk about that right away. So, Daemon is a character that was in a really, in my opinion, a bad spot off of Season 1. So, this season, I think, or at least, it's hard to know because I'm not in the writing team. But Season 1, they either set up Daemon to be a really bad character. They gave him all the things that were rumored to maybe have possibly been Daemon to make him the villain of Season 1. He is the villain of Season 1, okay? And so either they had the plan that they were going to peel back those layers in Season 2, or they realized based upon our feedback that, okay, we didn't really like that he was just kind of one note villainous. And so they're kind of building off of that into season 2, trying to make him more of a gray character. And so, okay, how do you then make him more of a gray character when he doesn't really like respect Rhaenyra? He has a lot of issues with Rhaenyra. He's not really close to any of those people outside of because of Viserys died. And you have to look at the source material. Where does Daemon go? He goes to Harrenhal. You go to Harrenhal, this really magical place. The best way to start developing Daemon as a character is the visions. Now, you can criticize maybe how long the visions, go for. They're spanning, multiple episodes now at this point. But the actual execution of the idea of how do you develop Daemon makes a ton of sense. His conversations with Alice Rivers and his hallucinations do more for Daemon's development in only a couple episodes than all of season 1. So, again, it's just me. I don't really agree with his opinion. I don't agree with this opinion. Again, we keep saying low quality filler. So, I've said this now, I don't know how many times. There is maybe 3 episodes that you can say are filler or setup. And that's episode 3, 5, and 6. I think episode 6 is not filler. I think it's a very good setup episode. There's a difference. Episode 5, I think you can make the argument is more of filler. But, okay. Episode 3, I think is even less because you have a pretty big moment with Rhaenyra and Alicent. Even though I didn't like the moment, it is still a big moment that's not filler. So, I just don't. And then if you even look at episode 3, everything outside of that moment, I actually liked in that episode. The reason I don't like episode 3 is because of the last moment. I just don't agree with that. 2 episodes in a row, and it's starting to be unforgivable. So this person actually just thinks the filler is bad in episode 5 and 6. This guy is complaining that the pacing is slow in 2 episodes. I don't know how you are so upset by setup episodes 2 episodes in a row. We came off the big battle of the season. What did you expect to happen? I don't know. I fundamentally just don't agree with this. I don't agree with this person's concept of the show. Could have been better. First, the episode was great in the red, keeping everything in King's Landing from Aemon to Aegon to Alicent to the people in their rage. Even talking about the new prince was amazing. What I hated was on the Dragonstone side. A dragon choosing the rider, the kissing scene. Even Daemon losing his mind was better than this. So another person that doesn't like the Daemon stuff. The kissing scene was not needed at all, and it shouldn't have happened. And on what terms they did even kiss? What was the purpose of it, and why is it going to be a thing? So this person basically gave this a 6 out of 10 for Rhaenyra and Mysaria kissing. Yes, it could have been executed better. Does that say that this should be a 6 out of 10? Okay. 1 out of 10. Okay. It's just boring at this point. The season has been really pointless so far. Could have merged it all into 1 to 2 semi-decent episodes. Okay, you're just stupid. If this is your take, you are dumb. Okay, let's see his reasoning. Half a season is wasted on Daemon's dreams in Harrenhal, making it feel repetitive and dull. I can get I can get this part. This part I can get. Maybe it feels repetitive because it's every single episode. And it kind of seems a little weird. There's not been a lot of explanations as to how they happen. It's kind of been left kind of mysterious. But okay. Again, characters seem stagnant. This is mainly Rhaenyra. They didn't really actually say anything about the show with any type of reasoning. They just made claims, which is okay. But if you think you could merge everything into 1 to 2 semi-decent episodes, you are dumb. I don't even know what this is. Just insane. You are just stupid. I don't know what's done. Let's see here. What do we got? happens rarely, but this is the second time in the entire series that I use the fast forward function in some scenes. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. I don't care about action as long as there is either real character development, a clever or catchy story development, the introduction of something you feel that really matters, or anything with a bit of special wit. Charm other than maybe generally something is okay. Many things felt kind of random. The dialogues are okay, but with every verb, okay, and certainly not to the point. Some story elements that were introduced in the episode will drag on a bit, but as a viewer, you expect they will be kind of pointless and basically will just provide the action cannon fodder for the final episode. All in all, it's still solid, but authors shouldn't complain too much if they get replaced by an AI. That's a wild statement. That right there is a wild statement. Okay. I don't know what to say because they didn't point to anything. They just said things weren't interesting to them, which is like, okay, fair enough, I guess. I know that's your opinion. That's your way of looking at it. I don't know how you can say this about the episode when we literally had Laris giving his backstory. Think about the Laris and Aegon conversation first. Think about what it does. So, the first thing it does, it reveals a little bit of Laris's background while also connecting Alice Rivers to his birth. 2, it also then connects to Aegon and where he's going to be going in terms of his character development, because now he's going to feel that way. Laris's whole speech is basically him talking about himself, but actually projecting it onto Aegon. The third thing, it's moving the plot forward as well, because that's going to then have a repercussion into something that's going to happen later in the show. So in one scene, you had 3 different major plot elements that all worked at the same time. That is called efficient storytelling. Okay. But all right, let's move on. A 7 out of 10. Okay. Snooze fest. Another boring episode. Yawn. The characters are all so one-dimensional. The dialogue is at times very hard to follow. Every episode is just all the same boring conversations and the same soulless CGI rendered rooms. I'm not invested in the story whatsoever. Yeah, whatever. House of Dragon is only telling one story. It's not telling it all that well. I mean, yeah, it's the story of the dance. I don't know what to tell you. This could have been a 90-minute movie instead of trying to fill an entire... Okay, you're dumb. This sentence means you're dumb. I can't believe I'm saying this, but even D&D would have done a better job here. I mean, if we're talking in terms of bringing them back after they ruined season or Game of Thrones as a whole, you're just living in La La Land. Yeah, this person just seems as though they are just bored and not actually bringing up anything. And then what else we got here? Season has been slow and wandering. Makes so few choices seems aimless without Damon. Okay, this is a fair criticism. Damon's storyline is entire. Okay, I feel like they're adding nothing to the season. They feel like an episode. This person, I don't think they understand that Damon's plotline is meant to be a character plotline. Aegon's pain and recovery, it's being stretched out. My brother in Christ, the dude fell out of the sky and got melted. What do you think he's going to do? Just get up and start walking? You're just dumb. You missed last season's pace. You are wrong. Season 1's pacing was one of the biggest issues of the season. That's not where Season 1 succeeded. Season 1 succeeded in a lot of its character moments, like Viserys and Alicent. You're just wrong. I'm not trying to compare this show solely to Game of Thrones. Proceeds to then compare it to 1 through 6. The fact that you think Season 6 and Season 5 are good, up to this potential, the fact that you went Season 1 to Season 6 tells me all I need to know. Okay, they didn't say anything here. Okay. Uh, what was that ending? A seemingly decent episode with some good moments like these. Okay. Looks like the dragon didn't accept the guy. Okay. You know, like he was going to do it even though he was scared, and I felt like the whole scene was far fetched, but I loved that little twist. I thought that this was one of the better episodes with some good things actually happening. Great acting in entirely as usual, and a bit. Okay, so we've seen this is a lot of praise for a 6 out of 10. With Damon's subplot, even though we all know that story, so I was going to give it an 8 right up to the. So the kissing scene that lasted like 2 seconds is by far not one of the worst things, and you dropped it down 2 points. I was enjoying it so far. Don't worry, Chad. I'm gonna get back to you. I'm just like sifting through the stupidity of the internet. From episode 2 till 5, and then a lot of flaws, but it was enjoyable. I hate how they handled Damon's character, all that filler of his storyline. Yeah, okay. Again, we talked about this with Damon. I'm not gonna continue going on it. I hate how they marginalize Jace's storytelling and Rhaenyra take the credit. When has this happened? So Jace is the one that comes up with the dragon seed stuff, and then Rhaenyra actually is the one that takes the blame for it because she's the one that goes through with it. So that just I don't know if they don't like the Aemon and Aegon relationship, which I think is actually one of the better parts of the season. But this I do agree with. Also, I'm afraid that they will get rid of Nettles and exchange her with Rhaena. That is fair, but that's not really a criticism of this episode. That would be criticism of a further episode. Okay, they didn't really. That doesn't say anything because you didn't actually. All right, let's go back to chat. I'm seeing a lot of just like not interesting things on here. A lot of people are just saying the same thing. Okay, let me read chat. Where are we at here on chat? Where are we even at in chat, dude? I'm so lost. I'm so lost as to where we are in chat right now. Aegon, I'm glad you got reunited. I was one of those review bombers. Well, Joseph, let me send me your review. Send me your review. I'll look at your review if you'd like. Rogue Prince is supposed to be charismatic. I mean, I think you're not going to be charismatic in Harrenhal. Like, it's a very depressing place. I mean, I don't know. That's just I think a problem more with where we went with the character of Daemon than it is the actual character of him. I think they'll do good with Duncan Egg though. I hope House of the Dragon season 3 goes back to 10 episodes because 8 feels too little in my opinion. Maybe. I think a person saying Rhaenyra prevailed hasn't read the book and is talking about how they think it's going to go. They're in for a tough time as time goes, if that's their prediction. Yeah, I didn't understand that comment or that person's like paragraph thing because that didn't really make any sense. Rhaenyra hasn't won anything in this season. Like, if anything, you would say she's lost more than she's gained in this season. So I don't know. Maybe Dakota. Well, Dakota, Larissa is still a member, though.
The Lannisters send their regards.
Also, Radical, thank you for the super chat. Let me see what you said. What did you say? What did you say? Or did you just donate? I think you just donate. But thank you for the chat or donation, whichever one it was. I appreciate you. We have filler in a season with only 8 episodes, though. Fair enough. If it was 13 episodes, episode 5 was the only filler to me. Yeah, to me personally, like, episode 5 is the only episode I consider to be, like, filler setup, right? Because episode 6 is a strong setup episode, in my opinion, but a lot of the season, almost every scene that you see has a reason for why it is there, and is important to the overall narrative. So, filler to me is just stuff that is there to fluff out the show. Right? It doesn't have a lot of meaning. It doesn't have a lot of reason. If you want to look at what filler is, So Kenobi, the Kenobi show, pretty much the middle episodes of that show, which is only 6 episodes long, is filler. None of that actually matters to the overall narrative. None of it changes where the episodes go or whatnot. Like, so I don't know. Some of these people got a 2-second attention span. Yeah, like going back to that review that was talking about season 1 because they watched it all at one time. I guarantee you they liked it because they didn't have to wait, right? I agree, Brett, though. I agree. Yeah, Battle of the Gullet's not happening. Even if it was going to be in this show, or this season, it was going to be episode 8. It was not going to be episode 7. That's just too quick. That's way too quick. I agree, Steffi. It is kind of repetitive. That's why I think like the criticism that people had that maybe it's repetitive. I do agree. It is like very formulaic that each episode right now is kind of like Damon has vision, and then he kind of gets talked about that vision to develop him in a certain way. Yeah, ditto. It makes no sense. I mean, Laenor was a character that was gay in the first season, and I loved Laenor. I wish we got more of Laenor's character. I mean, I literally made a video that's going out on Saturday. That is a video talking about how I think House of the Dragon like wasted potential with Laenor's character in season 1 and how that affected this. Yeah, if they're basically 2 movies, Violet maybe. I have problems with how Renly and Loras were portrayed in the show. They were way more cool in the books. I agree. I think Renly especially was way cooler. Yeah, bringing AI. When we get to the point where like our stories or our scripts are being written by AI is the day that I think all creativity from the world dies. They made the dragon. See, I disagree with that, Life Facts. I actually think Melee's looks fantastic. Ghost, thank you for the super chat. Why are they not popping up on my thing? I don't know if it's donating or super chatting. It's not popping up for me. But if you guys do have questions, let me know. But I appreciate you as always. There were no boring episodes this season in my opinion besides episode 5. I'd say yeah, of all the ones that I think in terms of like boringness or like slowness, episode 5 to me is the one. I think a lot of episodes 5 I think is getting more hate because of episode 5 than it is because of episode 6. I agree, Black. I agree, Melees. You take over. Also, hi Agor. Melees is in here and Aegon. This is a great time. We got all the Blackfires. Eric is getting exhausted, but I'm getting exhausted by people saying the same thing. They just say the same thing, and it's just like for a review site, right? It's just these people shouting their opinions into the void. It's all it is right now. That's all it is. All I'm reading is just it's boring. That's all I'm reading, and it's just like okay. How can a dragon ask a normal person to ride it? Is that logical? I mean, a dragon, like, isn't... So what do you mean by that? Are you talking about, like, how Sea Smoke basically, like, goes up to Adam, more or less, and, like, that's how he's, like, claiming it, more or less? I mean, that, I think, is more with the connection. But, yeah, I agree. I think the Life X, that's a legit criticism. The dragons have not been explained in their connection to their rider very much. I think it's a legit criticism. It's okay to have your own opinions, but you're dumb. I agree. That is a great quote by Grease the Cruel. I'm not in the Grease the Cruel. I'd like to think, right? You know, sometimes, you know, I play the Amy's version of myself, and I'm like, you know, I'll just allow people to just say things to say it. But then other times, it's just like, I mean, this is just dumb. Why try to rationalize it? It's just dumb. That maybe Steffi, like people just have less attachment to the characters. That's definitely true. But like that, I think to me is something where that's your personal interpretation, I guess. I actually thought him being able to talk at all is him healing too fast. I really thought we wouldn't hear him. I didn't think we'd see Aegon. Like I thought maybe we'd see his wounds stuff. I didn't think he'd be conscious the rest of the season. So, like, they're going faster than I am, but yeah. Oh, here we go. Ghost said, "Can I be your royal executioner?" Ghost, you can be my royal executioner. I don't know why it didn't pop up for me. It usually pops up at the top of the screen for me, but it did not. I'm watching Logan to prepare for Deadpool 3. That's a good time. That's a good time. And also you said, okay, I'm watching Logan to prepare for... Okay. Thank you for adding me, because for some reason those didn't pop up at the top of my like super chats, which I found was very annoying. But yeah. I like Game of Thrones still season 5. I watched all the way to season 8. I could tell the dip in quality in season 7, but yeah. Do you think House of the Dragon is doomed to be polarized for its entire run, where one person says they love it while another hates it? I don't know, because I think it's people that are screaming the loudest right now that are the ones that are saying they don't like the show. I don't know. People are forgetting that parts of like Pete got they found boring, and usually a rose-colored glasses, Sansa's story, Theon's repetitive torture, Rob not doing too much for long stretches, Bran's story. Yeah, I do agree. I mean, think about what season 2 Rob's arc is in season 2. It's him just getting with like Talisa, more or less. You know? I don't know. Yeah, like even though I'm disappointed by what they did with Blood and Cheese, I still recognize that's a good episode, right? Like that's still like an 8 out of 10 episode, because Blood and Cheese, if you're someone that hasn't like read Blood and Cheese in the book, that scene really works for you. Like that whole thing works. So I don't know. The stupidest complaint by far was Aegon's recovery being dragged out. So I'm waiting to see one of the reviews I saw last night. I haven't seen it yet, but man, I was gonna blow up on stream if I'm gonna blow up on stream if I see it. Agreed, Philip. Agreed. I think people will just, I don't know. I think it's the TikTok effect, you know? The scrolling effect. That people just have a very low attention span these days. And I notice that myself. Like sometimes I'm in bed and I'll be watching a show like right before I go to sleep or something like that, and I'll notice like I'm on my phone and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not paying attention to it. So I think part of it's kind of like that. I don't mind Sea Smoke going to Adam. I actually like it because I feel like it could easily be seen in the show that dragons are a tool, but this reminds you they have their own thoughts and feelings. I agree about it. Like I like that the dragons have personalities. They have emotions. That's something we never got in Game of Thrones. I just wish we got a little bit more explanation into how that connection works. How'd he get that wrench? Wait, who are you talking about? Are you talking about Ghost? Ghost gets the wrench because he's goated. Wasn't the worst, wasn't the best. Fair enough, Trevor. I personally don't hate season 2. I just know it has potential to be better. Oh yeah, Steffi, I'm the same boat. It could be way better. Life facts, I just think they look good. I don't know. I think the dragons look way better than they do in season 1. Yeah, it will be radical. And again, I don't have problems with the nettle stuff if they do it correctly. We need a little Visenya in Greece right now. I can feel your... Matthew, I was thinking about this when I took a walk today. I was like, man, I am somebody, though, that like I am fueled much more by anger than I am anything else. Like, especially when I used to work out more, it would give you focus. You just think about all the bad times in your life, and you're like, all right, I'm ready to go. But, yeah. All right, let's move on, though. Actually, I'll respond to Violets before I move on. But and I love how different the dragons look, because don't they look exactly like the same? Yeah, our Danies don't look exactly the same. I agree. I especially like Caraxes. Like even when Daemon is leaving, you can tell Caraxes is very unease and stuff. I am somebody. All right, let's move on. Okay, so let's go back to the other screen. What we're doing, and let's move on. Okay, so too many filler episodes. After episode 4, the story is not moving an inch. There are smaller parts where you will not feel to press the forward button. But apart from that, the start of the episode is making me press the forward button because everything looks forced and not necessary. I just don't agree. I just fundamentally don't agree with what you said, so I don't know. I'm not expecting a battle for every episode. I like the downtime in some of the character development. Mainly, however, it's gotten to the point now that every time the Blacks, Damon and Rhaenyra mainly go on screen, I want to go back to the Greens. That's fair, and I mean Rhaenyra's plotline. I like Damon's plotline about, I would say it's certain parts more than the Green stuff, but I don't understand how you can make it a 6 out of 10 just for Rhaenyra. Like, that's basically what this is saying. Well, this is not true, really. Like, this is just not true. Like, you can say you don't like what is actually happening, but that's just not the truth. Daemon is more or less going to use the Tullys after the old guy dies. You know, Grover Tully, he's dead. He's gonna use the grandson. So that's just not true. And then this right here, the Rhaenyra stuff, regardless of if you like it or not, she's trying to twist the public against the Greens, which resulted in a riot that could have easily gotten Rhaenyra, or not Rhaenyra, Alicent and Helena killed. So this is just not true. This, I think, is a legitimate criticism, but this is not, I don't think this is a criticism, like, this is a criticism because of the way they built Rhaenyra as a character. If we had the book version of the character, it would make more sense as to why she's not doing as much, but, okay, fair enough. I think this is more of a rational, I think this is, like, I don't have too many problems with this. Like a 6 out of 10, I think they have rational arguments, that's fair. 2 out of 10, no plot development at all. Okay, that's just false. Like, you can't make a statement like this and just say, "Oh yeah, there's no plot development at all." Like, Alicent and Helena literally got attacked in a riot in this episode. Like, also a dragon was claimed in this episode, something that has not been done outside from like a main Targaryen family in history. Like, this title alone is just, it makes the rest of everything else you say kind of irrelevant. You just raced like half your credibility. But here we go. They spent millions of dollars per episode. Yeah, that's kind of how you see dragons and stuff. I don't know if you're just an absolute moron. But yeah, okay. So you're right. It's supposed to be the major event and the unpredictable factor for the Greens' authority. However, it saddens me to see that the director only used less than 10 minutes to depict. Okay, so you're just a dumbass. So you're just a dumbass. Episode 5 spent like its entire King's Landing plot, regardless if you agree with it or not agree with it, right? Ricky, for instance, didn't like episode 5 in terms of like the building of the King's Landing. This was built up to for literally 2 episodes. You're actually stupid. Okay, you're just stupid. I don't know what to tell you. People heard rumors, got food, started the riot. There's lax, so many important deals. I was a positive for the Blacks with a little island to be able to provide so much food. That's okay. That's a legit argument, but you kind of undid it because you said some stupid stuff up here. But that's a legitimate criticism. Why does the director send 40 miles of me? Okay, you're just dumb again. I mean, you want to know why it's called the Small Folk? Because we see, Ulf in a tavern and there's no food. We see Hugh, like, literally physically trying to attack someone to get food because he has no food. The Small Folk literally attack the queens of the Greens. Like, I guess you just don't understand. You don't have basic comprehension of what words. And that's coming from me. Like, I can't comprehend, like, big words. So, God knows what's going on in there. I don't know. Okay, let's just. The 45 minutes, well, I mean, if it looks so similar to episode 5, you would have realized that the King's Landing plot got developed last episode. I guess you just that. Okay, I thought the creator was trying to save money on some episodes and make something good on the last. Saw a dragon attack. We saw a dragon in a good part of this. How would they be saving money? You are just stupid. Also, we're talking about episode 6 as an episode 6 review, so I don't know why that's even there. Either you can't math correctly or that's a typo. I don't know. I'm wrong and foolish to trust this show and mediocre. Well, you are wrong and you are foolish. I'll give you that. 2 out of 10. I give your review a 1 out of 10. Quinn is unsufferable. They have the best wig, but he's got the worst attitude. not even gonna bother. I can't believe the show has become such a slog. I had very high hopes for this season. Left me frustrated, fingering, covering. The first half of this, I do agree. I've been somewhat frustrated at times with the show, especially with Rhaenyra. So I will. I would. I've never been this though. I've never had like I want to fast forward it. No, I've never had that problem. Um. Okay, so again, just somebody doesn't like the Damon plot line. I mean, I'm not gonna repeat myself a bunch, but just somebody that doesn't like that plot line. Okay. Um, I I feel like this is a weird complaint, given that Aegon does let people walk over him, and then he lashes out, and he stops doing that, and that's what ends up episode 4. Like the consequences of like what this is leads to Aegon basically almost dying, and then directly after that, we see Aemon taking charge and not letting people do this at all. So unless like they're talking about Rhaenyra, I don't really get part of it. I agree. Like this, I agree with. This, I agree with. I agree with. I don't know about the last part. Let's say this part. I agree with like most of this, and okay, I think this is. I think this is a solid review. Like if it's for a 6 out of 10, I can agree with some of their criticisms, but yeah. 1 out of 10. All right, here we go. Ever seen someone ruining his own great work with just 30 seconds of unnecessary scene that will drag the storyline to? What are you talking about? What does this even mean? Okay. Adding this kind of pointless scene suggested by some actor. Okay, so they gave it a 1 out of 10 just for the kiss scene. Who wasted my time reading? All I have. That pathetic. Okay, here we go. Not sure what happened to the show. Absolutely dreadful pacing, writing, and delivery. No tension whatsoever, with every plot point blatantly obvious before it even starts. I just don't. This episode finally pushed me to the point of noticing a consistent 20 to 40 seconds per scene. Purely wasted time having a character brood or stomp around, achieving nothing other than cheapening the runtime. You'd have to provide me a certain scene that this happens. The only one that comes to mind is like for the thumbnail I used one with Allison like overlooking like the banister or whatever, and I think it's a great shot, by the way. That's why I use it in the background. Maybe with like Rhaenyra a little bit here and there, or like Daemon, like that's just natural. That's how people respond to certain things, especially when you have very dark conflicts happening. I don't know. I've been holding a hope that the show would follow class in Game. I was hoping it wouldn't do that actually, because Game of Thrones ended badly, if you don't remember. And even House of Dragon season 1, again, I wanted it to be better than House of the Dragon season 1. Had a lot of problems in House of Dragon season 1. Pacing, where the show comes to form in the last 33% of the season, that does not appear to be the case. There's not enough runtime left in the season to accomplish any of substance after another filler episode. I just don't agree with blatantly with anything you said, and you didn't actually back it up with any like particular scenes that you disliked or anything like that. You just share. It's like if I did this. It's like if I came onto a video and I said, Rhaegar and Lyanna are Jon's parents. I don't like any other theories, and that's the video. That's what that comment is. I'm excited for the next one. This episode of visually stunning. Everything seems perfect on the surface. Important not to forget that storytelling is key. During the planning and casting, but some excellent actors are trapped in roles that don't allow them to showcase their talent, while others have served no purpose because their characters lack personality. The Maester is simply a Maester doing his job, which is distressing and extremely. Their first character they bring up is Orwyle. What the fuck? Okay, let's continue. Main characters are undeniably beautiful and charismatic, such as Daemon, Rhaenyra, and even Alice Rivers. That the episode is overshadowed by the strong sense of emptiness both in terms of the storyline and the music. Additionally, there's no humor in the series, which makes the dialogue less entertaining. Let me get this straight. Characters lack personality. Rhaenyra is the one that you could say that of all the main characters lacks personality. You then proceeded to say you liked Rhaenyra, but you didn't like Maester Orwyle. I mean, I don't like the Maesters either, but not for those reasons. That's questionable. Let's continue on. We continue to watch unnecessary scenes just to make the series one season longer. At the same time, there's no respect for the source material. As far as we know, there's no rebellion of the people against the Greens in the book. Yes, but my dude, they had to add something because it's one event. Never mind. This looks like a book purist, but let's continue. The dragon claiming part. Normally, all dragon seeds are collected in the Dragonstone, and most of them. Oh, by the way, this is spoilers, by the way. Daemon's dreams are getting longer and longer. We could have seen the events that happened until this episode 3 to 4 episodes. And it's a pathetic state, and that Aegon and Aemond are so spiteful to each other. The series ruins the processing of the characters that carry the dance. Fact that he brought up Aegon and Aemond's relationship as being a problem in the season, I just don't agree. I think there's a criticism in terms of the Dragon Seed stuff. Like, we just don't know how Sea Smoke was able to choose Adam. It's not really been explored. I've made a theory video of it, but it's kind of been left up for the most part. I think there's like some actual points to this, but 1 out of 10, no. Lack of urgency and development this season has been incredible, or is seen as incredible. People die, and in the next episode, nothing happened, and everything goes back to how. Okay, here we go. All right. So, Rhaenys dies. How does that impact it? Well, Rhaenyra seems quite disturbed by that. She then has to get Baela, then make Corlys Hand of the King. We see multiple characters reacting to Rhaenys' death, and it's kind of a pretty sore spot of the episode. Oh, look, Aegon actually got hurt, and he can't be king anymore. Wow, you see Aemond taking power. It deeply affects Cole having PTSD. Alicent seems very distressed based off the information she learned from Rhaenyra, her, questioning herself as a mother. Let's go back to episode 2 after Blood and Cheese, where Jaehaerys dies. Oh, look, Daemon and Rhaenyra break up. Let's see. Aegon gets really pissed off, and it leads him more or less to eventually get rid of Otto. Let's just stop there. I just like. Yeah, I just can't. I can't. Let's go back to chat. I can't. Some of these are just like. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. All right. That was a little tough to read. I'm not gonna lie. That was pretty tough to read. All right, let me go back up. Where are we at here? All right. Boo, we want more chat reading, not morons with dumbass takes. Oh wait. You think Craxes is having visions about his grandfather Balerion and how he burned down the castle, or Craxes having visions? I think that'd be cool if he did. Most people thought the penultimate episode would be Rook's Rest, Golett, or taking King's Landing, but the show made the interesting choice to do none of those. Not sure if that was a good or bad. Well, it gave us Rook's Rest quicker, which is what I find is very interesting. Is like people are very like upset by the pacing and stuff, but then when episode 4 came out, everybody was praising it. So like 2 episodes later, and it's like, I don't know, it's weird. Agreed, Steffi, though, on the dragons. I think they make it a 6 out of 10 just for Rhaenyra is because, like I said earlier, they made her the main character now that she's not, and it's more of an ensemble cast. The transition isn't smooth. Agreed, Violet. I agree, Violet. Like, I think they should have like made it clear, like you're shifting to other characters, but I don't think they've done that though, Violet. I think they've tried to do both. They've tried to keep her as a main character while expanding the plot, and I don't think it's worked that well. Some of these reviews are dumb. Yeah, they're pretty. Just I don't even know what to say. Like, they're just bad. Like the stream if you haven't already, Matthew. There, that's goat behavior right there. Saltiness to some of these reviews. Some of these people like they don't have brain cells. Is this a channel now? Grease rates ratings? Yeah, dude. I'm gonna tear. I could tear these to shreds, man. These are just bad. They're just bad. It's frustrating the lack of action and payoffs this season after thinking everything would take off after season 1. I guess ditto, but I mean, like, if you think about 3 of the first 4 episodes, they all had massive payoffs. So, I don't know. Even if you consider the Allison Rhaenyra thing to be a big payoff, if that worked for you, like, I don't know. I would wonder, Philip. I wonder. Hey, Grease, you have say, yeah, I know. They do their own things. I let them go crazy. It's the Anies part of myself coming out. I just let them do what they got to do. You know, Brett, I think you'd like Stannis. I know you don't really know who he is, but I think you'd like him. All I'm saying is, Brett, I'm glad you picked Young Griff to basically be your guy. I like that. Brett, don't start typing N+A in here. I will remove you as a mod. Only Dakota gets it because he gets a pass. Kinda sucks how that foot fetish last scene kind of ruined the character for me, but making him look more of a creep than cunning, yeah, that's fair. I thought he was very good in this episode, though. If Allison sneaks on Dragonstone, I will have an issue. I don't want any of this sneaking shit anymore. Don't go down the reviews section. It's almost as bad as the comment section. Yeah. By the way, I'm glad you. It seems like you guys liked the video I put out yesterday. It was a 1 out of 10, so I appreciate you guys for that. Greased up and ready to go goblin mode, not clickbait. I want to see Old Town. Pop, at least we're self-aware. I love Maegor the Cruel, so I gotta be. Maegor the Cruel's the goat. I made a stupid thing of saying, I don't know why I said this in the last video. I didn't even catch it when I was editing, that I said Maegor rode Vhagar. Sometimes I just don't think. See, I'm someone that doesn't think sometimes, and I'm telling these people that they're kind of insane. I agree, Violet, though. I agree. And then Violet, I have decided to make you a mod, so you are now a mod. Enjoy your power. All I did was ask what N+A. You don't need to know. It's bad. It's bad. Let's put it that way. Brett, it's like not drinking Dr. Pepper. It's that bad. It's like if it came up to you, Brett, and said Coke is better than Dr. Pepper. That's basically what N+A is. The biggest difference between Rhaenyra and Cersei is when Cersei so dies, she blames out people, but while Rhaenyra's son dies, she blames herself and still doesn't let her anger guide her as of now. I agree. And if you don't know how she goes, they were probably expecting her to go full war general, but I think it's more interesting for her to know what she's been doing. She wasn't taught. I agree. Violet, you've been made a member, or not a member. You've been made a mod. You've been made a mod. That's how it is. Are you worried at all? How? Because you've been on the channel for a while, Violet. I made you a mod. I was sure IGN had given the episode a 7 out of 10, but they gave it a 9. That's kind of crazy. Grease giving out mods like Aegon the Fourth giving out dragon eggs. Hey, what's gotta happen? That's what's gotta happen. Yeah, Violet, you are now a mod. It's an honor. Yes, Violet. This is your crowning moment. Here you go. Yeah, he's a Coke fan more or less. He also put Dasani in the Discord earlier or yesterday. That was disgusting. That actually made me want to. But all right, let's continue on. I'm gonna go a little bit longer. I've been liking this stream. I don't know why. Sometimes I just thrive in the negativity. I like it. All right. I don't watch a lot of bad television. See, this is a smart person. I don't watch a lot of bad television. Let me get in the voice. I don't watch a lot of bad television. This season is turning out to be some of the worst TV I've seen in recent memory. I'm genuinely shocked at how bad it is. I never raved about the first season. I thought it was okay to fairly good at best, but enough for me to look forward to season 2. So far, I've liked about 0.5% of it. 0.5. You hear that? 0.5. People giving it 8, 9s, and 10s, suggesting we're not intelligent or do not have the attention span, are deluded. Well, so far you haven't said much, so you are kind of living up to the stigma. I am all for slow burn drama. I recently watched Rectify, which is very slow. But when I do not care about a single character or the story, there's an issue with the show. Characters' interactions and dialogue are so painfully dull. Yeah, you guys, you remember that Aegon and Laris conversation, or the Alice and Gawain conversation, questioning her ability to be a mother? Those were so dull. People say that it isn't fair to compare it to GOT, why not? Oh, well, I don't know. The stories are completely different. The source material is completely different. I don't know. If you had 2 brain cells, you'd be able to understand that. It's set in the same places, referenced in Game of Thrones, uses the same theme, tune, and airs on the same channel. That show, I felt fully engaged. It was fascinating and compelling in practically every dialogue scene. Even many of the side characters from Game of Thrones have more charisma than most of the main cast of House of the Dragon. I want to like it, but it isn't working for me. I will finish the rest of the season, but I think that's it for me. Well, all I gotta say is, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what it's like comparing, like, I don't know, the sequels of the Star Wars to like the prequel. Like, they're 2 completely different things. Sequels are still bad, but like, that just doesn't work. Because something's in the same world doesn't mean you instantly compare it to that other thing. Especially with Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, where it's like they have 2 completely different ways of doing or having source material. Like for Fire and Blood, they have to make basically all the dialogue. They have to put scenes in between things because in the book it's just events. I mean, if you don't understand that, I don't know. Stuff here. Seems that we will have the same last season of Game of Thrones, but throughout the series here, did the writers read what they wrote? Have a whole... For everybody, even in the back, I like Fire and Blood. But Fire and Blood is not a one-for-one adaptation. Game of Thrones, you can straight up, the script is given to you. You don't have to even make up dialogue. You can, like, supplement the medium and change a couple things here and there. All you've got to do is just take the dialogue from the page and put it on the screen. Fire and Blood has very little dialogue. God, hurts me. Just hurts me. Why did they change all the characters for the... that's just not true. That's factually incorrect. If you think Aegon is better in the book, if you think Viserys is better in the book, I'd even say Alicent at times is better in the show than she was in the book. You're just lost. You're just lost. Even the characters were distorted for the worse. Daemon has 4 episodes and he has burning nightmares. Oh, there are details of battle, such as the Battle of the Burning Mill. They shorten anything important and put the rot in kissing Mysaria, a bad season who's only good as the 4th episode in the acting. Okay, so this person's salty about the Rhaenyra and kissing Mysaria stuff, and they tried to cover it up with this bullshit that didn't matter. Okay, and you give it a 1 out of 10. Okay. 5 out of 10. Have only 8 episodes. Season 1 had 10, and yet it seems the season is still too long for the events that are unfolding. Maybe 6 episodes should have... Okay, they could not have done this season in 6 episodes. You're wrong. And also, you haven't seen the other 2 episodes, so you don't know what's in those, so this statement is already just irrelevant. I do agree, though. Focusing on Rhaenyra and Alicent is not a good thing when they are 2 characters that don't have a lot to do in this part of the story. I do agree. But not on the Daemon thing. I don't agree on the Daemon. Again, comparing it to Game of Thrones. Can't compare it to Game of Thrones. I just don't agree with anything that was said here. Characters, for the most part, especially in episode 6. If you would have said this for episode 5, I could have seen where you were coming from. Episode 6, this doesn't really make any sense. Most scenes had a reason they were there and forwarded either a character or a plot, so I just don't agree with that. Lack of scale. Why don't they show the often mentioned ship blockade or show this part? Because of budget, they have to show the dragons, and you don't really need to see the blockade. You know it's there. Or show how far it is from Dragonstone to Harrenhal and where the armies are at the moment. The fuck do you mean, where the armies are at the moment? They just showed you one in episode 6, you moron. Like, one's with the Leffords. Okay, there's one. Okay, let's point it out here. Daemon doesn't actually have an army yet, but we've seen the Blackens and Brackwoods. Those are the only 2 armies that have been fighting in the Riverlands so far that we know of. We've seen Cole's armies for what, episode 4, episode 3? We saw his army or his entourage leaving in episode 6. What the fuck do you want here? Like, you're just dumb. Like, just pay attention. Get off the TikTok and just watch. How can the viewer connect to the story if they don't know where Rook... Okay, so here we go. So I'm gonna break it down for you. So we know that King's Landing, okay, we know where it is, right? It's been shown multiple times. Cole then tells the plan. We're gonna go up the coast in the Crownlands, okay? Okay? Right next to Dragonstone, where it is. We're gonna take castle by castle, and then they finally get to Rook's Rest. Are you just stupid? I mean, just listen to what is being said. Maybe that's why you're struggling. You're not listening to the dialogue that's important to the story. The episode ends with something seemingly happening. The episode ends with something seemingly happening. That is usually how episodes end. Okay? At least this episode wasn't the worst because it featured dragons and lore a little bit. That's the least you can expect from a show that's called House of the Dragon. This came 2 episodes after we saw 3 dragons fighting. Oh, we got a long one. All right, okay. I think they knew how slow. What? If you think the first 3 to 4 episodes of this season are slow, like, I get the argument for 5 and 6. You think the okay, right? Okay, it's fun to guess. Okay, this. I mean, I could see the idea of like Rhaenyra and Mizaria's plan. That does apply here. Okay, this is a problem I have. No one of big stature has really died. I guess you consider Rhaenys as not big stature, even though she is one of the main characters of the story. But think about like season 2, right? Like, who's the major character that dies in season 2? Renly. Renly is like the quote unquote major character. I would say his equivalence would be probably like Rhaenys. So if you want to sit here and complain no major character died, okay, whatever. Okay. This part of it, right here, this is a legit criticism. I do agree. This is a legit criticism. I don't think this is big enough to say it's not a problem of this episode, though. That's not a problem of this episode. That's a problem of the earlier episodes, in my opinion. Are you seeing something we're not? We are not 7 episodes into season 2. We are 6. You're doing a review on episode 6. What the fuck are you talking about? Okay. This is getting hard to watch at some point. At least they spent 5 minutes writing in our new Dragon Slayer. Otherwise, this episode was a waste. Also, I felt like when Darcy is not getting the depth in her scripts this season that she deserves. I didn't know who she was before House of Dragon, but she is a fantastic actress, and the writers keep giving her the same dialogue every episode. So they're not giving her the same dialogue, really, but I do agree, like, she's not getting as much done. But in terms of advancing the story, I just would not disagree more. Definitely a lot of things happened in this episode. Talked about them numerous times, but this person didn't really fight anything. Hey. What do we got here? Justice for the... Lena's character is getting done dirty. I mean, I think we should see her more, but I don't know how that's a problem of episodes. This is episode 5 problem. This is not a episode 6 problem. Okay, this is an episode 6 problem if you actually don't believe in it. But yeah. This just basically said nothing that had any relevance to episode 6, so I don't even know what you were reviewing. Some of these people are just lost. Some of these people are just genuinely lost. This episode had moments, but overall, it is not that much. Like, episode 5 and 6 could have been one episode, only leaving one extra episode for bigger comments with 2 episodes left. We'll wait another 2 years, I guess. But overall, okay, we're not at the end of the season, so you can't make a claim like that. You don't know what's gonna happen in the last 2 episodes. Again, people are just saying, "Oh yeah, I don't like the Damon stuff," but they don't say why. They just say, "It's annoying." Like, okay. All right, I think I'm gonna get back to chat, and then we're just gonna end this one out. It's getting pretty repetitive at this point. It's just getting to the point where it's just the same people saying the same things over and over again, and they don't really like have any like thing they're saying. They're just saying things to say things. Also, I didn't know that I had face cam on that whole time. That's my bad. But you guys didn't miss much, honestly. But let me go back to chat. But yeah, I will just say, just in general, I think people just are kind of dumb. If you don't want me at my book, Allison, you don't deserve me at my show, Allison. Fair enough, Violet. Fair enough. I like this side of Greece where I just trash on people. Yeah, it's a great time. I enjoy it. It's great for self-confidence, you know? I bet real money they were scrolling TikTok while watching the show and then got surprised they find the show boring. Like, of course you think it's boring. You don't know what's going on. Exactly. Yeah, radical, I can see that. But in my opinion, it's just natural. You're going to leave the point of the episode on a high note because you're going to want to see what happens with that interaction. Right? Like, I was literally sitting there with my dad, and I knew exactly when they were going to run or stop the episode. Not because of the runtime or anything. I just knew just logically where you would end an episode is where they ended it. I thought it tanked because of the Middle Eastern countries not digging the girlies kissing like it did so bad in Saudi with ratings. Yeah, I think that's part of it. And I'm just reading what's on here, right? Some of the reviews on here are just generally bad, but you are right, Ann. You are right. Like, a lot of it came from that as well. which is just like most of it's just homophobia. More like in terms of if you think the episode's so bad that it's like just the kissing scene, I don't know what to tell you. Like that's insane. Like there's a difference between not feeling like the scene was earned, which I think a lot of people in chat are, but I think other people, like I think there are agendas with it that are not liking the show because it was two women kissing, which is just like just dumb. Honest question though, would you be Harper? Well, I mean, yeah, if it's a character I care about, and like, yeah, I would definitely, you know, have an emotion towards it. But yeah, we could see more Jason Lannister. Also, I was gonna say that radical, but I felt like it was too far. I was just like, I don't even want to bother starting this whole. Just not doing it. Go up more. I had some zingers. Oh god. Just to say, in general, people are kind of dumb. Yeah, that's really the way I feel about most of the things I actually watched or just read in this stream. Like everything I read, it felt like I was just the people were just like, I'm bored. Oh, my feelings are hurt. Like that's like more or less what I just read, and I'm just like, dude, what are we doing? I don't know. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna end the stream there. I hope you all enjoyed my nice rant. And I'll see you guys all. We're gonna have a lot of streams, by the way, this weekend. I know if we're doing my stream with Ricky, it's gonna be on Monday. I can't say much more about it, but it'll be Monday. But I will be doing my own show by myself after the episode. I'll be streaming twice on Sunday. Be streaming. Not on my channel, but I will be. I'll be streaming. I'll be live 2 times Monday. Yeah. But yeah. Reese, you do a great troll impression. Do one of me next. Okay, maybe I will. But yeah, I will talk to you guys all later.